Hall of Fame broadcaster Marty Brenneman here, and he's the best storyteller in the game, and it's time to sit back, relax, and have some laughs. Welcome to the Mayor's Office, and here's your host, Sean Casey.
Boom, Chinch. What's up, brother? Coming in hot, man. What's going on?
Dude, I don't know what's more impressive, that we got a guy that has a century mark in wins in Major League Baseball, or that his setup is 90 times better than ours right now. I can't wait for this. Classing the place up.
Dude. I can't wait to ask this guy about his setup, but I know him. He's like really an artist at heart, so I know why the setup's so legit, because he's got that craziness, OCD going on in his mind. Listen, this guy, man, one of my favorite teammates of all time, one of my best buddies of all time, 14 years in the big leagues. Over 100, right at 100 wins, over 1,800 innings pitched, played for 10 different teams. 97 was 7th in Rookie of the Year. I played with him with the Reds for in 1998 and 1999. He was drafted out of high school by the Dodgers, which I can't wait to get into that a little bit too. Also played at the Atlantic League at the end, which is pretty cool. 4.65 ERA, over 1,200 punch outs in the big leagues. That means you were pretty good with the longevity. Has some great stuff too. Let's bring in my buddy, longtime big league player, Brett Tomko. BT, what's up, man?
What's up, Case? What's going on?
How you doing, dude? Tell us about your setup first, because Chinch and I, we're like, holy crap! This guy's got the best setup we've had on of anybody.
Well, listen, I've seen the show, so I've seen you got stuff behind you, and I was a podcaster for a minute on a show. I had a show for a while, so I'm aware of the lighting and the background and all that stuff. So this is just a little room that goes to my kids' bedroom, where we just put our stuff, and they walked by this thing for like 10 years and didn't even acknowledge anything in it until recently. They're like, "Hey, Dad, what's this? What's this?" And I'm like, finally, it took 10 years for you guys to figure out there's jerseys on the wall, and then I actually did something for a living instead of just sit around and pick you guys up.
Isn't that so funny, bro? Like when your kids are young, almost 13, but like when they're younger, they have no idea. They have zero idea. Like I had a nice memorabilia room. My kids just sort of like, it's nice, Dad. Do you know those guys? I'm like, I actually played, against these guys. I actually, so it's so funny that like, I know exactly what you're saying. Like, it's not till a little bit that your kids are like, "Oh, you played, Dad?" Like, "Oh, that's your jersey, Tomko? You didn't just have that made for some beer league softball league?" I'm
like, that's my first jersey ever in the big leagues right there. And then my last jersey, like, they didn't care. The ball's behind me. That's every catcher that ever caught me in the big leagues signed on a ball.
Oh, cool.
And it's like my favorite thing in here. They've never asked me about it once. They don't care. They just know it's a bunch of baseballs. They don't care. Dude. I'm like, that's a cool thing. That was like 20 years of work right there. They don't care. Don't care.
You know who does care? Chinch and I care. Can you get up and tell us the catchers in that thing?
Yeah, great call.
We do want to know.
Well, I mean, there's a lot. Joe Oliver was the first one. Everyone asked me, who's your favorite catcher of all time? And I said, that's a hard question to answer. But, you know Joe. Joe was the guy that took care of me as a rookie. He came up, basically, he put down fingers, and I threw the pitches. That's kind of how it was. I got a great story about when I didn't throw what he wanted to.
Dude, tell us it. Tell us it right now, bro. Tell us it.
So Joe, right? I'm a rookie. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I'm on like a little bit of a winning streak, right? And I get into like the 7th inning, haven't given up a run, given up 2 hits. So he puts down a sign and I shake. And he goes, puts it down again. I shake again. And all I see him do is drop his head and take his mask off. And I think, oh, crap. Calls timeout, runs out there, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "How many hits have you given up?" I said, 2. And he goes, "Yeah, so what? So have you shook the whole game?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Then why are you shaking now?" And I said, "I don't want to throw that pitch." And he goes, "You'll throw whatever I put down." So he runs back, puts down the pitch. Of course, I shake and go, "Yes." And I throw it. I end up pitching great. I think I gave up 1 run. Come in the clubhouse. I'm sitting there, and he's talking to some people in the stadium, and I pipe up as a rookie, and I say something, and I just see his head snap back and said, "What'd you say?" And I fired back at him, and he's like, "You need to be quiet." And I said, "Yeah, whatever, Joe." So I go in and take a shower.
Oh my God.
I go and take a shower. I come back. I put my clothes on. I'm driving back to Montgomery. It's a good 20, 25-minute drive.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm driving. I get about halfway there, and all of a sudden I feel heat in a spot you shouldn't feel heat. right down by the Cup region, and I start kind of squirming around in my car, and I still got 10 more minutes till I get home. And then, like, in 5 minutes, my balls are on fire. I mean, they're burning, and I'm trying to not like run into anything. So I was staying at a hotel out there, and I jam into the parking lot, slam on the brakes. I run to my shower, and I'm trying to wash stuff up. So he put Red Hot in my underwear.
Oh no,
God. Dude, that stuff is so hot.
Fire, right? I burned the whole night. It was 4:00 in the morning, and I was still on fire. Way too much. Shaving cream, anything I could to wash it off, didn't matter. Still fire, 4:00 in the morning.
Oh, my God.
So I get to the clubhouse, and I walk in, and Joe just turns and says, "Hey, how was your drive home?" And I go, "Wasn't great." He just said, "Keep your mouth shut and throw what I put down." I said, "Yes, sir." That was it.
Oh my God, that is so great, dude.
So Joe's like my favorite, and then Eddie Tomlinson, Jason LaRue, Brian Johnson, Brooke Fordyce, Joe Oliver again. I could go down probably the whole thing.
Do it.
Joe Oliver again in Seattle, Dan Wilson, Chris Widger, Tom Lampkin again in San Diego. I'm going to butcher some. Wiki Gonzalez, Melvin Nieves, Joe Girardi, Mike Matheny, Widger again.
Dude, tell me. No, back up. What about Girardi? What was he like as a catcher?
He was great. So I was struggling in St. Louis. Like, had the worst half of any big league pitcher in the game. Most hits allowed, highest ERA at the All-Star break. And La Russa was on my wagon. Like, he believed in me. So he started Girardi one game, and I dealt. Then he started the next game. I dealt. He kept putting him behind there. He ended up hurting his back like 6 starts after I got on a hot streak, and then Widger started catching me. But he was great. And then he was my manager in New York when I was in New York. So that was a weird.
Oh, no shit.
Right.
Yeah, we sat next to each other on the plane, played cribbage, all flights, and then he's my manager, and it was a weird. There was a weird relationship because I used to beat the crap out of him in cribbage and like talk smack, and now he's like my man. I can't do that anymore, right? Because I want to pitch. So he was great, though. I love Joe. He was great.
Hey, BT, what was he like as your manager? Like, I mean, like, was the relationship different now that he wasn't? You know what I mean? Like, were you more standoffish towards him?
No, it wasn't. There was no standoff, but the relationship definitely changed because there was a manager-player relationship instead of like a flight partner in your seat, playing cribbage. Right. And it was, and we even talked about it before the season. Like, I gotta kind of keep my distance a little bit because we have history. But I think that happens a lot. I mean, Aaron Boone's probably in the same situation. There's guys that maybe not our generation now, but there were guys that those guys played with that they got to establish some ground rules of like, I'm the boss. And Joe never like flexed his power, but there wasn't that banter and that camaraderie that there was. There was a little bit because, he was still young when he was doing it, but it definitely changed. It was weird for me because I'm like, God, it's just a little different. I don't feel like I can go and like basically just wear him out because he's the boss. Right. So it was a little tough. It got a little dicey at a couple points where I didn't pitch bad in New York, so there was never a point where he was like, bring me in the office and have to whip me into shape. So luckily there was never like conflict like that, which was great.
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
But he was good.
That's great.
But dude, I could go through it.
Who else? Keep going. This is great, dude.
Tori Alba, Matheny again.
Oh, dude, how about Matheny? What was Matheny like? Dude, because I'll tell you what, it's funny looking back. Like, you come up to, me, bro. I come up to the plate. Hey, what's up, bro? A lot of catchers. I come up to Matheny. Hey, what's up, Mike? Nothing. Never would say anything. And a couple times I'm like, bro, I mean, you're going to throw, and I used to think to myself, like, I really hit well against the Cardinals. And I used to like kind of pump me up a little bit, like, all right, you want a big league me? All right, I'm going to hit a rocket here. But that wasn't him. Obviously, he's a good dude. I know Mike now, but when I was playing it, he didn't say anything to me. And I think, was that La Russa's influence with like the fraternizing with guys and stuff like that? Or was Matheny just so locked in?
I think he was so locked in. Two things that stand out with Mike. He once told me on the bench, or we were in the food room or something, that his sole purpose as a catcher was to get the starting pitcher through 5 innings, no matter what stuff they had. He's like, I don't care if you're throwing poop up there. It's my job to get you through those 5 innings, no matter what you have. Figure out how to use it in what way to use it to get you through 5 innings, which I just thought was a cool thing for a catcher to say. Like he's that invested in his pitchers to want to help them. I get to spring training. I get there like a week early, to kind of work out. And I go in to kind of see the clubhouse, and Matheny's in there. I never met him. So I met him. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing here today?" I'm like, I just thought I'd kind of get, my feet wet, do some running out, do some pulls or whatever. He's like, "Do you need to throw?" And I said, "Yeah, I love it." I said, "I'd love to get on the mound." He said, "All right, I'll meet you out there in 5 minutes." So I go out there and stretch. He comes out in full catcher's gear. Full catcher's gear. And in spring training, sometimes the catchers are just cashing it in for the first few weeks. Full catcher's gear, catching my bullpen. First curveball I bounced in front of him, he smothers it on top of the plate. Like he was never not thinking about catching or honing his craft. And that's why defensively he was one of the best. He didn't have the best arm, but defensively and blocking the balls, didn't get much better than that. So it's just complete gamer all the time. And the nicest guy, one of the nicest guys in the world. But, the Matheny Manifesto, all that stuff that he wrote, like, dude, he's hardcore. He's hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah. BT, staying on Matheny with that really quick is that like that Matheny Manifesto, for anyone that doesn't know, when he was coaching youth, right? He was coaching youth.
Yeah.
He wrote a whole letter and basically said, listen, at the end of the day, this is the team. I don't want any parents calling. If your parents call, right, you'll be off the team. It was something like that.
It was something like that. And it was a lot about building character and building fine young men, not just baseball, which I love that part of it. Because that when, I coach travel ball, we can get into that. But like, that's one of my big things is the character of the kid and what we're trying to do. We're not just trying to build. Most of these kids are not going to make the big leagues. That's just the reality of it. But when they go work for Home Depot or Rawlings or whoever, they still got to be teammates and they still got to be good people. So that's like, in my coaching, that's a huge part of my component of my team. And Mike was the same way with that. But yeah, it was the parents like, stay out of the way. I'm coaching him the best way I know how. Not that he like knows everything or I know everything, but we're doing what we think is best. And it's kind of like, if you don't like it, take a hike.
Yeah, right.
Which I love. And I didn't understand it till I really got into it. that should be given out at the beginning of the year to every single team in the world. Because it's brutal. You've been through it with your kids probably too, but it's like the parents, that's what makes it not fun.
Yeah. Like what experiences have you had? I know you're coaching your kids now and like, man, what experiences like that what's your philosophy as far as like, you've been in this long enough coaching your kids, and especially you're out there in California, dude, where I'm sure it's at another level because you're playing 12 months a year. You guys are getting after it. Like, what is it now? What is your philosophy now as your kids continue to grow and get older?
So I was big on, especially in Little League and going up, it's like, like I said, we're trying to build good teammates. Like, how we think the game should be played, be respectful to your opponents, be respectful to your teammates, your coaches, the umpire, that respect. And I don't have a lot of rules. Like I have like two major rules. It's attitude and effort. Like you come in and have the best attitude you can for that day. If you're having a rough day, pull me to the side. Coach, I had a bad day at school. Just so I'm aware of that. So I'm not like going, Johnny's not even like trying today. He had a rough day. Like I'm aware of all that because I got young kids. I got a kid on the team. And, effort. I just want 100% of your effort. Just try your best. Like that's the biggest thing for me. But I want them to respect their teammates and be good teammates. Because you know how it is. Like when you're struggling, and I got a good story about you struggling one time too. When you're struggling, you feel like you're on the island by yourself. Like you feel like dude, you just see no land in sight. You're on the island. How am I going to get off this? And I want them to be good teammates. If you see that kid that's punched out 5 times in a row, go over and sit next to him. You don't have to say anything. You may just smack him on the leg like, hey, I'm here with you. They don't understand how big that is. I knew it was as a grown man how big that was. But as a kid, to let you know that you're not alone, like in a dog, travel balls, dog eat dog sometimes, just to say, hey, you're okay. Get them next time. Like I want the kids to be that. In terms of the playing, I want them to play hard. That's the biggest thing. Work when we step over the lines, it's 100%. If I say, hey, game speed for 10 minutes, give me your best effort. Because what happens is those kids that aren't given the best effort, when we get to a tournament or something like that, and they don't play as much as the other kid, that's when the parents get pissed. And it's like, well, I challenge, I'll just say Johnny or Sean. I challenge Sean. I say to these kids, hey, when we do this, look at the kid next to you. That's who you're competing against. Like, and outwork him. Show me you deserve more innings than him when we get to the tournament. Doesn't mean Sean's not going to play. Just means he might not get those crucial innings when I need that third baseman that's going to smother a ball like in a crucial situation. And I get it. They're 12 and 13, but they're almost to high school. And when you get to high school, you don't work hard, you're cut, and you can't go anywhere. You're stuck at it. So my thing is just, it's hard work, it's being good teammates, and it's getting after it. And my kid has it the worst. Like, I would tell parents that get a little like dicey with me, like, oh, you didn't play him enough. I'm like, my kid, I pulled my kid out for 3 innings because he struck out 2 times and I could see he just had a bad attitude. And then I'm going to wear him out on the way home. Like, if you don't want to strike out, you need to put more time in the cage. Like, their kids aren't getting that from me. So it's like, when I have parents complaining about playing time in this, I just, you know what, if it's not a good situation for you, all right. I'm not offended at all. If there's a better situation for you, go for it. I'm cool with that. I just want the best for your kid.
Yeah, I love that, dude. And what about, like, you see your kids at this age, 12, almost 13, like you said, they're closing in on high school. What is the age? I know for me and my kids, my kids are both playing, baseball in college, and I really started to see them really put the work in probably around 14, 15, something like that. Now, like I said, you guys are in a situation where you're out in California. You have 12 months a year you have the different weather there. I'm here in Pittsburgh where you're like, oh my God, we haven't seen the sun in 4 months.
It's raining, right? It's raining right now for the first time in, like, I think 4 years. And so, it's sunny all the time.
Right. There's a 365 drought out there in California. We have flooding. We have flooding like every few months. But I mean, do you find that, the kids out there, because, anytime you go to these showcases and all, say, oh, he's from California, he's from Florida, he's from Texas. Do you find that the kids at this age, 12, 13 years old, are already putting in the work that maybe somebody up in the Northeast is saying, when we're 15, 16, you start really looking at one sport?
100%. I mean, there's 7U travel ball teams out here, which I think is nuts. I put my kid in at 12, and that was like, I was pushing it because I had the means. I built a batting cage at the house so I could work with Ty. Jack doesn't play. He's a golfer. So, like, I would talk baseball. I put the time in with Ty here to supplement him not playing. But there was a point at like 12, I was like, I got it. Jeff Geary and I were coaching together, and we talked about starting our own travel team. And it's like, we got to get these kids going because they're going to fall behind a little bit. They'll make the ground up because they're just good athletes, but it's time. 12 and 13, I just had a conversation with Ty because he's been struggling Ty's a phenomenal little baseball player, and he went through a slump. So I was sitting in bed, bedtime, and I said, listen, Ty, here's the deal. Like, and he's usually a hard worker, but he hadn't been. And I said, if you don't want to put in the work, I totally understand that. I'm cool with that. Like, I get it. You're 12. But at this point out here, these kids are working hard. It's not like when you and I grew up, like, we played baseball and then we went to basketball or football.
Right.
I said, kids are playing year round. He's like, yeah, even at 12, Dad? I said, unfortunately, yes. And I said, if you want to put the work in, I will drop everything I'm doing every minute of the day to help you and Jack. Anything you guys want to do, I will stop what I'm doing and go throw you BP. Whatever. I said, but if you don't, when you punch out 3 times in the game, I don't want to see you crying anymore. I don't want to see you upset because you're not putting in the work. And it's a hard, he's 13, he's about to turn 13, and that's a big, like, responsibility for a 13 to be like, I'm going to grind out this work. Fortunately, Ty, he will get out there. I was throwing live BP to him yesterday on a mound, full lather, like I'm like game 7, like against him at 9 o'clock at night last night because he will work. He will work. He just, he's a kid. He's 12. He's got video games. He's got friends. He's got, wants to watch movies. I totally understand that. But the kids out here, they grind. It's so competitive. I can't even tell you how many teams there are in our little pocket of San Diego that are phenomenal travel ball teams where I'm like, how are these kids getting that good that fast? Because they work all the time.
What do you think about that too, BT? Like, like you said, we grew up, I'm playing football, basketball, baseball. I'm going to a certain age, and then my athletic ability went down the tubes. I'm like, all right, I'll just play baseball.
You're pure athlete. Pure athlete, you are.
But, dude, I know you were a big hooper too growing up. Like, do you think that kids should play more than one sport, especially at the age that your kids are at?
I do. I think they need to be athletes, and they don't have to be good at every sport. They don't have to. we make Ty play basketball in the wintertime, and it's not his thing. He doesn't practice it, doesn't want to practice it, and I get it, but we still have kind of said, hey, do this, because you're with some friends that you don't play baseball with, that are your good friends, and you're having fun out there. And when he plays it, he does great. But it's not like it's not his first love. Basketball was my first love. Baseball was kind of like the secondary sport for me. But yeah, the more athletic they can be, because that athleticism translates on a baseball field, 100%. Right. Football, basketball. I had one kid on my travel ball team. He was doing too many sports where he had to bail out of ours because he was a phenomenal lacrosse. He was lacrosse, golf, soccer, football, baseball, all these sports, and good at all of them. And he had to kind of like figure out what he wanted to like go into, which is tough for an 11 and 12-year-old kid to figure out. But I think, go out and play everything. Be a good athlete.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
I feel the same way. I think, and I also think like, if you do want to play college baseball, or if you do want to, play Major League Baseball or something, scouts are looking for athletes. They're looking for athletes. They feel like they can continue to develop your skill if you have the work ethic. So I think sometimes we lose sight of that as parents. We think all our kids are going to play in the big leagues. That's not true. But if your kids do want to play high school ball or college ball, the scouts are looking for athletes, kids that are playing multiple sports.
Right. And I tell all the parents, like, my main goal in all this Little League and travel ball, it's not to make them major leaguers. That's not my goal at all. It's 100% not my goal. My only goal is to get these kids prepared fundamentally that they got a shot to make their freshman baseball team. That's my only goal, because after that, it's on them. Like, I can't do anything, but I can try to prepare them so when they get into that freshman tryout, they're like, I've done all this. Yeah. This is no big deal. We've been doing this for 3 or 4 years. And like, I just think kids just going out and doing other stuff too, it's going to show on the field. I try to play Ty at every position almost, just so he has aware of like every position, so he's not pigeonholed as a shortstop or a second baseman. He plays everywhere because you have to be athletic. You can't just sit and at this point just be a first baseman. It just doesn't work unless you rake like you raked. It doesn't matter.
Don't get on the first. Don't get on the first baseman, bro. What the hell? Are you saying they're not athletes? What the hell's going on around here?
I mean, they usually are like one of the best hitters on the team. I'll just say that.
That is true. That is true. That is true. That is the truth, bro. That is the truth. What is the story, before we even go any further? What's the story you have about Slumping? When I was struggling? Yeah.
So, I mean, you weren't a big go out guy, right? You weren't a big like, hey, we're gonna go out. And I remember you were slumping. We were in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And we were like a slump for you was like 0 for 15. Like, that was a slump. Like, that's like a lot of big leaguers are like, that's nothing. Like, I've slumped for 30 at bats. Might not have been that. It might have been 0 for 12. So we get off the bus and he's like, hey, BT, you want to go get a drink? And I was like, I was ready to shut it down. I was tired. But like, I'm there for you. Like, we're buddies. I'm there for you. Let's go. Like, let's go. So we go to like a little bar. We have a couple drinks. We're just talking about life and struggling and getting out of it.
It was a college bar too, right? If I remember.
Not yet. Oh, okay. Not yet. It was a regular bar. So we walk out. We're like ready to shut it down. And we get the cab, and you're like, hey, BT, you want to go somewhere else? And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
I must have been really struggling. I was really struggling.
You're struggling. So we ended up at like a Marquette, like college dive bar with quarter beer night. It was quarter beer. It was straight out of like old school, like Frank State. We're buying beers for everybody. I don't even drink beer, and I'm drinking beer. Pictures everywhere, and it was like the place was going crazy because here we are. Like, I wasn't super famous. You were way more famous than me, but here it's like people knew who we were, and we're at this just college place, just filling up. Drinks are on us, everybody. So I ended up waking up in the bathroom the next morning. Like, I usually don't get after it like that, but you came out and had like 3 hits the next day.
I went 3 for 4 off Eric.
You did. You went 3 for 4. So that's what's being a good teammate. Going out when you don't want to go out and drinking beer when you don't even drink beer.
Awesome.
I can't tell that story to the kids, but you got to be a good teammate sometimes. And suck it up.
That was so funny. I still remember that I was like, dude, I think we're at a marquee like your dive bar, and they're like, yeah, let's go. And we were like 20. We were young. We were like 25 and 20. We were both 25, but that's pretty old for that. Probably
No.
the 18-year-olds that were there.
Well, I'm saying it's old school. It's like Frank the Tank the whole time. Like I'm telling you, it was great. It was one of my favorite nights in the big leagues, off the field. It was so good.
God. That was great, dude. Oh,
Yep.
that's a great memory, brother.
Never a dull moment with you, by the way.
Dude, we had a lot of good. We do. You and I had a lot of good times together. And I still pissed off they traded you to the Seattle so quickly after that '99 team, which was so much fun. What about the '99 Reds team, man? Like going back, looking at your favorite teams. Like, what do you remember about that team? Because we've had a few guys on here, like Vaughny and Harnish and Dimitri and a couple other guys have come on. Like, what are your best memories of that team?
I use that team as an example all the time, especially my little league teams, teams that on paper shouldn't be there. There's no way on paper, even though we had Vaughny and we had some Larkin and we had some sustainable big leaguers that were all-stars, on paper, we didn't match up with the Astros and the Cubs and all those teams. But I still remember we were at Larkin's house on a day off and he was having a barbecue and a pool party and we're doing flips off the diving board. And I remember saying to Larkin, I'm like, this is so cool. And he goes, this is what it's all about. And it was we were friends. We were friends. Yeah. We loved to hang out. We loved coming to the field. We had chemistry. And some people believe in chemistry and some people don't. I believe in team chemistry. I believe if you want to go to battle and go into games with your friends and you're tight with them and you want them to do well and you're not rooting against them or not even caring about it, that translates onto the field. And I'm telling you, I don't think we should have been the team we were, on paper. We just, Harnish, Burba, me,
Steve
our starting
Parrish.
staff.
Yeah.
No, our starting staff is not like a Scherzer and DeGrom. It's not like that, right?
Yeah.
But we battled and we won games. We won 92 games that year?
96, bro. 96.
Oh, 96, right. Yeah. And it's we weren't a 100-win team. We just weren't. But we loved each other. Yeah. I still remember after that night, we all ended up at Japs, which was on Main Street. It was the one little little bub bar that guys used to go hang out, and nobody bothered us or anything like that. We stayed there till 5 in the morning. We didn't want the season to end.
Yeah,
that was it. And I was disappointed when I got traded. I thought naively I was going to be a Red forever. But when I got traded, I was so disappointed because I loved the city and I loved that team so much, and not to be a part of that was that killed me when it happened.
Yeah, that hurt me too when you got traded. Obviously, you're my best friend on the team. I'm you got to be kidding me. And even just they broke up the team a little bit. And, Cam was a big part of our team too. And he went with you to Seattle. But you did get traded forever for Ken Griffey Jr.
But yeah, I don't have a lot to hang my hat on, but I do have that, right? I got some punch outs, I got some wins, but dude, I was traded for one of the best baseball players ever to play the game. That's probably the one thing that gets brought up the most by people. The most is do you got traded for Ken Griffey Jr.? I said, well, I was in the trade. It was me and another guy that played center field. But yeah, it was basically us for him. There was a couple other guys, minor leaguers involved, but it's one of those things that, it's a very funny thing. My kid's got some Ken Griffey Jr. shirts and he wears them. And I'm like, dude, are you taunting me right now? It's you pissed at me, you slapped me in the face a little bit. I don't like it.
Oh my God, dude. It's so great.
Dude, it's a good time. Cincinnati was great. We hung out a lot. I got I always tell this story to people about you. Whenever people ask me about you, I'm like, dude, he was the best. So we come in late night from a flight. And at that time, you're like, BT, can you give me a ride home? I'm like, yeah, I'll take you home. Like, hey, and we were both single. Well, no, I think you were about engaged.
I wasn't married. Time. Yeah.
Yeah, you're engaged. You're like, hey, I was single. I'm like, yeah, I'll come. You want to crash? Yeah. And then every morning we wake up and we go to Skyline and we'd be in cutoff shirts and looking like we were not professional baseball players.
We were looking homeless. We honestly looked homeless.
Yeah, for sure. Where people are looking at there's no way that's them. And we're just shoving chili cheese conies in our face. And I was like, dude, this is great. Those are the memories. At the end of the day, and this is what I tell people a lot, at the end of the day, you had to go and look up my career stats. You had to, because nobody remembers that stuff. I can't tell you what you hit in 2010. I can't. Right. But in terms of character, if somebody says, hey, you play with Sean Casey? I was like, yeah, how is he? The best. Just the best. That's for me, that's the stuff that matters. Because at the end of the day, we're long gone. Like it doesn't matter anymore. But at the end of the day, the friendships and stuff like that, my best friends don't even live by me. And it's tough. But like when we call each other, I remember I called you one time. You were driving your kid from college.
Yeah, to
we
Dayton,
talked for like two. We talked for like 2 hours. Like we hadn't like missed a beat.
That's incredible. Yeah,
and I feel the same way. That's what I love about baseball, and that's what I love about what I got to do for 20 years is making those relationships, making those friendships, and now getting to pass that along to like the younger generation. I still wish I was coaching like some minor league stuff, even in the big leagues. I'd love to be a big league coach, but you know how it is with kids. You didn't want to miss your kids grow up.
You don't want to. Yeah. You'll be a big league coach in 6 years from now. Like, don't miss anything with your kids. Like, that's like my favorite thing is like, you know, I've had the greatest job at MLB Network. It's allowed me to like pick my days where I don't miss a lot with the kids, which is great. BT, I feel the same way, bro. Like for me, it's like I want to tell some of the guys in the big leagues, like if you think this is going to last forever, you have another thing coming to you. And what I want to say, too, for some of the guys that maybe their pride ego gets a little too big, I want to say, dude, your teammates aren't going to remember the dudes that were the best players. They're going to remember the guys that were the best teammates on the flights, on the bus rides, going to get lunch on the road, going to get dinner on the road, like guys that had your back. Like you talked about earlier. Hey, man, I punch out 3 times. Case, you go, all right, man, you're going to get them. You come off the mound. I come out to a mound visit. You might have traffic on the bases. Come on, BT, let's go, bro. You got this. Like, you remember that stuff. And like, I think the guys, sometimes you get so caught up in your own little world nowadays with these phones and your brand and all this crap. Like, no, dude, when you're done playing and it goes by in the blink of an eye, your teammates will remember if you were a good dude, and if you weren't, they're not going to remember your numbers. They're just not, you know? No,
listen, in 09, I broke my shoulder. I threw a pitch. I broke my shoulder.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
Within an instant, like done. I was having the best stretch of my career with Oakland. I was with New York and Oakland that year. Done. Had my kids. Was told I'd never throw a baseball again by 4 different orthopedics. Oakland re-signed me to rehab me, and I ended up getting into the minor leagues, pitching, getting to AAA. That next year I went to Texas, and I was in AAA to start, and I got called up to the big leagues. That first game, knowing like how fragile what you do for a living is, it can be one pitch. I got the call from the bullpen. I come out, I punch a couple guys out, give up a home run, and I walk off the mound, and I am bawling before I even get to the chalk. Wow. Walk off, go into the tunnel. Ron Washington walks down. It's like, hey, big guy, you all right? And I'm crying. And I'm like, that was a long road to get back. And I appreciated, I was up there for 40 days because I had to sign that waiver. Right. And that was the last time I was ever in the big leagues. But I appreciated that so much. Even when I went back down to AAA and I was the veteran AAA guy, which I signed up for, I loved every minute of it. I hated waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get the 6 o'clock flight. Right? I hated that.
There was nothing worse than AAA. Hey, bags at 4:30. I'm like, shit. The game just ended. The game just ended.
I hated that, but I appreciated what I got to do. I got to go out there and pitch and make money. My family got to see me play. And I think as you get into it, and I'm sure you did this, I know I did it, it's a job. Like you're in the middle of it, it's a job. You lose perspective of like how really cool this is. If you're traveling the world, you're traveling the country, maybe even the world.
I went to Japan. I went to Japan in 2008. I would never have gone to Japan without the Red Sox.
And you get into it and it's like, hey, this is supposed to happen. I'm a big leaguer. But you don't really realize, like, this is the coolest thing that anybody gets to do, as far as I'm concerned. You're making a ton of money. You're meeting all these people. You're making great friends. And you're playing a game. Yeah. And people lose perspective. I still remember I wore some guy out in the big leagues because they were complaining they didn't have any more lobster on the charter flights. And I was like, dude, I just had effing peanuts and pretzels on a Southwest flight 2 weeks ago, and you're complaining there's no lobster? Have the cheeseburger. Like, because you know how it is on a charter flight. It's just everything for you. But like, that's the perspective. Like, dude, this is awesome. Enjoy everything. Don't worry about your role. You're a big leaguer. Like, enjoy every second of it.
Yeah, dude, it's funny you say that too. You know, as far as taking things for granted, you know, when you take off on those charter flights, you get on the thing and you look over and, there's you with your laptop open and freaking Manny Ramirez got his headphones on. Two guys are playing video games, all these things. And Denny Nagel, remember we used to take off and Nagel would jump up as the plane's taking off and
ski down the center aisle. Yeah. Yeah,
it was unbelievable. First he's like, I'm Eddie the Eagle. Then he would ski down on like a tray down the freaking thing. And it's so funny because now you get on a flight and everyone's like, turn your freaking all electronics off, all your phones off, or it's going to hurt the radar. And I'm like, well, every big league team should have been going down a long time ago because there's not one regulation.
I didn't fasten my seatbelt for like 10 years. You're telling me to fasten my seatbelt. Dude, I got an unbelievable story. I just remembered. Remember when we were first, we were taking off. We were playing the White Sox, I believe, and we were taking off, and you were next to me, and you hated flying. I hated it.
And dude, I remember. Oh my God, I forgot about this. we're taking off, and there's like lightning. I was like, I don't think we probably should have took off. And you're holding me like I'm a teddy bear. You're like, Case, tell me when we're at 30,000 feet. I'm looking out the window like, holy shit, I think Thor just hit his hammer. Fucking lightning just went right by the wing. I'm like, BT, don't look outside. And you're literally like shitting your pants. And I'm like, you're going to be okay, bro. You're going to be okay.
Dude, I hated it. I got better, but those first few years, I hated flying. I hate it. Somebody gave me the best advice. If you lay down and look up, you don't feel the turbulence as much. So every time that hit, I was like looking up, please, no, just get us through this. As soon as turbulence hit, every single time.
Oh my God. Dude, do you remember? I hate it. Do you remember the one time, I believe you were still there, when the plane landed hard or the masks came out? Remember? And they hit hardish in the face. And I was like, oh my God, the masks are out. That never happens. Did you remember that?
I remember that. I remember that. I had that happen in Seattle where they had to dump all the fuel. We had to make an emergency landing.
Oh
I remember one time, I don't know, it might have been the Reds. We were flying into San Francisco. This might have been the one. And they came over the intercom and they said, yeah, we're having a little problem with the flaps, but we're going to try to land anyways. And I was like, try? What are you they're like, we're going to come down pretty hard. It's going to be pretty rough on the landing. And I'm just shitting myself. Anytime a pilot says we're going to try to do this, dude, no, it has to be 100%. We can't try. We're going to land this plane, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's like the one advice I had from Lloyd McClendon when I told him I was trying to get hits in the big leagues. He goes, listen, Case, I get a truck driver in here to try. We need some hits.
Right.
You're a pilot. I could get freaking Chinch in here to fly the plane. We need you to be a pilot and land this thing. You know what I mean?
We took this might have been Cincinnati too. We took off from Chicago, and I remember the pilot came out and said, hey, they're shutting the airport down, but they're going to let us out as the last flight. And I'm like, listen, if they're shutting the airport down, we should not be flying. Why should we be the last flight out?
That was the flight I'm talking about. We were the last flight out. It was and I remember thinking we should not have taken off in this. This is not.
That was the flight.
Right. That was the flight.
The lightning and the wind, and I'm like, they're shutting the airport down. Let's shut it down.
Yeah,
Chicago's nice. We'll stay another night.
I was hugging you for 10 minutes. Like, BT, it's gonna be okay, bro. It's gonna be okay. Dude, do you remember? Yeah, our friendship came together. Dude, do you remember, though, in Cincinnati, that first year, at least for me, in 1998, yours was 97, but when we were flying commercial flights?
Oh, that was horrible.
What do you remember? Yeah.
I still remember, rolling up, and I was like, we were sitting with normal people. And I'm like, why are we walking through the airport? And I knew enough. I was my rookie year and the second year. I knew enough that this wasn't normal. I just remember Larkin sitting next to me and people coming up for his autograph. And Larkin was great, but you could just tell he was slightly irritated. And then we get on the plane and somebody's like, aren't you guys the Cincinnati Reds? And I was like, yeah. They're like, why are you flying with us?
We're like Marge Schott's our owner. Yeah. If you get to know her, she's.
I didn't want to throw her under the bus, but yeah, that was
the truth,
that's what we do. But we got the row in between us, or the seat in between. Yeah. That was what we got through our collective bargaining agreement. That if we flew commercial, we at least had the whole row for 2 guys. I remember that.
I still remember because I had just gotten called to the big leagues. So I'm like, oh, this must be how they do it in the big leagues. And I remember, like, I don't know if it was Lenny Harris or somebody like, damn, this is bullshit, man. I can't believe I was like, this isn't normal. And I'm like, no. And I remember going up. I was like seat 23A, and like and I was in the window, and this like grandmother was on the aisle, and she was like, "Oh, hey, honey, are you guys a sports team or something, team. Like college team?" I go, "No, man, we're the Cincinnati Reds. Could you move over? Because I'm in 23A."
I don't get that. Like, Didn't she like rent elephants for $50,000 a pop, like for parties? And
hey, do you remember this? I think you were. Hey, do you remember it was opening day and they had all these animals on the field, like a circus, and there was an elephant, and the national anthem started, and they're singing, and the elephant's standing. We're all kind of looking, and the tail of the elephant comes up as it was like, and the home of the, and it just shit right at the end of the national anthem, and there was a person behind it with a bag as it's shitting at the end, and people are going nuts. And it's like, I don't know if people are going nuts because the elephant just took a dump or the end of the national anthem. But I was like, dude, and it was like, what circus is this? What's going on?
I remember, and all of a sudden the grounds crew's there with shovels and they're putting it into the freaking, and I'm like, this is incredible. But dude,
I mean, that it was perspective. We didn't know any better. And it's like now I'm thinking about it, it's like, it was the big leagues. Like,
it was awesome, dude. Yeah, take a dump on, right, take a dump on my foot. Yeah, right. Take a dump on my foot. No, I don't care. I'll clean it. Listen, if I could have one more day in the big leagues, I don't know if you feel like this too, because I know some guys when they get done, you let an elephant take a shit on you?
Oh, for one more day in the big leagues, probably, yeah, without a doubt. I clean it up, yeah. I don't know about on me, but I definitely clean it up, 100% clean it up. I wasn't going there, but I mean, yeah, if you want to go there.
Wow, I went
there. I'm not into that.
Well, on your foot. I was saying on your foot. On your foot.
Oh, on the foot, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not laying down and taking it like in a rib cage or anything like that. No chance. No chance. Oh my God. But listen, if I could have one more day in the big leagues, and this is towards the end of my career, with my last year, I ended up getting hit in the hand and shattered my hand. And I had a couple chances where I thought I was going to get called up. And I remember telling the manager, said, I just want one more day. I mean, I had a great career. I played, 14 years, but I just wanted one more day after kind of being the veteran guy in AAA, just to drink it all in.
Right.
Just to really savor that, dude, this is the big leagues. The whole process of it. I just wanted, and I ended up getting hurt, and I didn't get that, but I just wanted one more day for that feeling of being a big leaguer. Because when it's all said and done, there was nothing better. I mean, kids and all that stuff. My kids are my world, and my family's my world.
Of course.
But that big league, being a big leaguer, it's stuff that people dream about, and to fully appreciate it for one more day, I'd give anything for that. Not a dump on my ribcage, but just about anything else I'd give for that.
Dude, yeah. I love that. I love that perspective, bro. Because you were that guy. You talk about your time in Texas, and you walk out there and Ron Washington's and you're like, man, it's been such a long road back. I do agree with you, man. I look back at my career and I'm like, I like to try and live my life with abundance and gratitude. And I look back at that time in the big leagues and I go, thank you, God. I can't believe that I was chosen to play 12 years in the big leagues and meet guys like you and travel the world and do the things we did, the charter flights and the food that we were able to, and the teammates we were able to have. And people say, hey, what do you miss? I'm like, what do I miss? Well, I miss the guys. Everyone says that. But what I miss is I will never bring 60,000 people to a frenzy ever again in my life. I remember I got the hit off Randy Johnson in the double in the gap against the Yankees in 2006. There was 55,000 people at Comerica Park waving orange towels as I stood on second base and I could take it all in. And they were playing ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, hey! And then it was pandemonium. Yeah. I get the chills talking about it. Pandemonium.
I just got it too,
dude. It was incredible. And I think back to my life, and I go, never again, man. Never again will I have a chance to hit a 3-run homer in Cincinnati on opening day in 2001 to tie the game in the 6th off John Burkett, to a standing ovation, to a curtain call, to come out and the place go bananas. I'll never have that again. But I do appreciate, BT, that like there's people in my life that have never had that opportunity. So I'm so grateful when I look back and I go, hell yeah, man. Awesome. Awesome.
I wish, and we could tell all these kids that are playing now, because I know there was a point during my career where I didn't take that in. Like even the good and the bad, you didn't take it in. It just was your job. And it was your job to go out to perform. You have a great game. You come in, you give the knuckles. But I wish you could step out a little bit. I wish I would have done it. Step out a little bit more, like you said. And in that moment, look around and see all the towels going. My favorite thing was hushing the crowd up. When it's 60,000 people and they're going crazy and you punch a guy out and it goes dead silent. Like that was, I tell my kids, that's my favorite sound in the world. Was silence, like in terms of that. But like to be able to like, I mean, I remember walking off the mound like that was so cool. This whole like Yankee Stadium in the playoffs.
Tell me that. Tell me. Do you remember a situation where Bam?
Well,
I remember that.
Yeah, no, I was. It was the playoffs with Seattle, and I'm pitching Game 6 of the ALCS, and I still remember. And this is one of those things I took it in. And I wish I would have taken more of these moments in. I got the call. Freddie Garcia was struggling a little bit. I come in with second and third, but I come down, I warm up, and I'm thinking, dude, this is so cool. It's October, and I'm pitching in Yankee Stadium. Like I was able to like step out of my body for a second, and I'm at the wall because the guy's coming in to open up the gate to run in, and I just remember it was like Gladiator, like where I could see some fans, and I'm waiting at the gate, and I can see a crack to go through, and he opens the gate, and I go to run out, and I just got goosebumps. I'm running out,
God, it's
and
incredible.
I'm looking up, and I'm like, oh my God, like how cool is this? It's and I kept thinking, it's October, I'm pitching against the Yankees, and that's when the Yankees were dominant,
right? And
so I remember going in there.
That was 2001.
2001, correct?
Yeah.
And it was Game 6. We should have won too. But wait, we won't get to that. So I get out there and I got 2 outs and Brocious is up and I throw a curveball, ground ball, get out of it. The crowd was in a frenzy. And as soon as they made the play, it was like dead silent. And I just remember like, dude, I just shut this place down. Like that's all I could think about. Like I shut Yankee Stadium down because they had a moment where they could have blown the game open. And like to be able to think about those moments and really remember them and like vividly remember them. I wish I had more of them. I have a lot. But I wish I would have stepped back out of my body a little bit and go, this is so cool.
By the way, that's old Yankee Stadium, too, which was explosive sounding, too. That's pretty cool story.
And I got moments like that. Like I said, I still remember, like, walking into Cincinnati when I got called up. You know how that you walk through the tunnel and right behind
you were the number one prospect, too. You were the number one prospect
so I got called up, and that was the first time I was ever going to step on a big league field, ever. Never been on a big league field. And I'm going to walk out, and the grounds crew guys are all sitting there in their little, like, shack right by the exit, and it was low, and there was a pad, and I didn't know that because I'd never been to the stadium, and I smack my head on the pad, and I walk out, and I look up, and I had never been in something so big like that. But that moment, I still remember it like it was yesterday. That moment when I stepped on that field, I'm like, holy crap. Like, I can't believe I'm here. Like, moments like that, like, those are the moments that are great. I wish, and I hate to say it, I wish I could go back 20 years and redo it. Yeah. Just to have the feelings. Everything go the same. I'm cool with that. I don't want to, like, relive and try to make – but to just remember all that stuff is so great.
Incredible.
So
yeah, you wish you could bottle it up, but it's, you do bottle it up. Like you're telling us, I know Chinch is loving it, because I'm loving it too. Like to hear those stories from the perspective of coming out. Like I like that. I like what you said there, like Gladiator, bro. You can see a few people, but when the doors swing open, you walk out. I got the chills saying it.
Yeah.
It's freaking, let's get it on, brother. You're in the Bronx Zoo. You got 50,000 raging maniacs that want to see you fail, and you go out there and you win. You dominate. It's just... I just
wish, guys, I want my kids to, and that's like, so I digress a ton. Our little league team was not supposed to win. Like we weren't supposed to be a good team. Like we had people told us we were going to lose 2 games and be out. We ended up going to the finals of the district, and we lost in the finals. And the kids were crying at the end of the game. And I was like, listen, guys, you guys didn't lose. Like you didn't lose. Nobody expected us to be here. I said, the banner, the trophy, the ring, that's not the prize. And I truly believe this to my core. That is not the prize. The prize is the process. The process of what we did, all the pool parties, the pizza parties, the practices, the batting cage at my house, the times at the field, that's the prize. The friendships you guys have made, that's the prize. And it goes back to what we're saying about we got to play Major League Baseball. The money, the fame, all that stuff, it's all great. My family, I get to take care of my family. But the prize is this. To me, the prize is this. Like the fact that we're friends or we're friends with other people, that's the prize. Any way you slice it, it's the process.
Yeah, I love that. What about, let's stay right there just for a second. First off, the process of you as a player. And then I want to also go to the process of Ichiro as a player, because and if you got a chance to appreciate him, but let's BT, stay with you first. Like the process of you as a player, becoming the player that you did. What were the things you did day in and day out that you look back and so that's how you play 14 years in the show. That's how you have the career that I had. That's
easy. So I wasn't very good in high school. Didn't get recruited at all. We were actually drafted like 3 spots. I don't know if you remember that. There were 4
I remember.
College guys. I was 4 college guys. I still remember. I'm like, dude, we need this Casey guy to sign. Like, because there were 4. It was Simons from Michigan, and I don't know who the other guy was. And we were all kind of waiting for us to sign. I was like, dude, somebody.
Oh yeah, Brian Simmons. Brian Simmons. He's right here from Pittsburgh. Yeah.
He was in Michigan, and we were all waiting. It's like nobody was signing, and then I forgot who signed first, and it set like the bar. But that was our first run in. But I wasn't recruited at all. I threw 81 miles an hour in high school. I just remember I redshirted in college, and I bought Nolan Ryan's. I got Nolan Ryan's jersey, my only jersey that's autographed in my house. I bought his book, and I redshirted. My high school coach told me to play a couple years and shut it down, figure out what I want to do for my life. I had a college coach tell me if I left school, I would be nothing. There's no way I'd make it. So I had these motivation factors. So I bought this book and I did the workouts, and I ended up one summer gaining like 7 miles an hour. The next summer I gained 8 miles an hour. So I went from throwing like 81, 82 to 97 miles an hour. And
what I'm interested. What were you doing that was different?
It was all leg. It was Nolan Ryan's workout. It was like his workout with Tom House. It was a lot of legs and core and squats.
Throw the football. Lunges. Throw the football too.
I didn't do the football so much, but it was like the work. I never lifted out. I was a chubby kid. Didn't know much about pitching, but I started doing that. And I basically dedicated myself. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it 100%. I'm going to give my best effort and see what happens. So I started doing that, gained all that. Then all of a sudden I'm in college at Florida Southern. I have a great year. I'm drafted. Boom. But my philosophy in the big leagues was I had Jack McKeon call me out in Cincinnati, said I wasn't working hard enough. And I was busting my butt. And Juan Guzman, I remember, he used to run the stairs in the stadium all the time. And he's like, hey, Brett, why don't you run the stairs with me? So I started, he's like, listen, you got to play the game. This was great. He's like, you got to play the game. You're a hard worker, but no one sees it because you're in the training room. He's like, if you need to come out here and run on the field and run stuff so people know it, let them know it. Be proud about it. Let them know that you're working hard. So I started doing that, and it was all of a sudden, oh, he's a hard worker. I never wanted to, I guess I never wanted to look in the mirror and know that I hadn't put the work in. So I always wanted to be the hardest worker, because at the end of the day, if I prepared and got ready and didn't do well, I worked hard. And I swear I got jobs, because if you take 2 guys that have the same numbers, but you have this guy that busts his ass all the time, and he's a hard worker, and he's a good teammate, and he's a good guy, I would imagine GMs are going to be like, I like that guy. He's a hard worker. I'm going to lean towards him. So I always took the philosophy, I'm going to show up every day, work as hard as I can work. So at the end of the day, I knew I put in my time. And that was my process. I just wanted to work hard for not getting hurt, for being prepared, and then trying to go out there and perform. So I just never want to look in the mirror at the end of the day. And I tell my kid this too. You don't want to be brushing your teeth and go, man, I should have practiced today, or I should have just took 20 ground balls. Like I'd say, like, you don't have to do a ton. Let's just throw a tennis ball off the wall, work on your hands, work on the soft. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just don't go to bed and brush your teeth and go, I did nothing today. I slacked off. You don't want that, because then when you fail, you remember that conversation you had with yourself. And I never wanted to do that. So I always tried to err on Sometimes it bit me in the butt. I overworked and tired myself out, but I wanted to work hard.
Well, I agree with you there. Like, I think greatness is the slow play. Greatness is the long game. You want to really get good at something, you got to do something 20 ground balls a day, 30 swings off the tee, whatever it is, but do it every day so you get marginal gains. So you know what I mean? And that I always say it's like the piñata effect. You hit that piñata, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 19 times. It might be, it's invisible gains. And then if you leave the party too soon, little Billy comes up and taps it, and out comes the candy, right? And you're like, oh my God. Well, dude, it was the 19 guys. It was the reps before that made the greatness. So so many guys want instant pleasure. So many guys want instant satisfaction. I want to be a big leaguer tomorrow. No. Anything you do in life that requires greatness, it's the long play. It's the long play. And then one day you'll see the breakthrough. But it might take you thousands and thousands and thousands of hours and reps, right?
If you go to the gym, right? And by the way, you're in phenomenal shape. What's going on? What program are you on?
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Look at that, dude. But listen, I just started, I'm done with Little League, so I'm not like the grounds crew person. I just got in the gym the last few days, so I'm going to start working out. But it's like when you go in the gym, if you go and do curls, your biceps aren't massive. There's, like you said, marginal gains. It takes a while.
Right.
Same thing with your baseball skills, you're hitting. Just because you're working on, not flying open, you're not going to, my kid hates doing the stupid drills with me. I'm like, hey, do this stupid drill, whatever, stand on one leg and do, but I'm never giving him something that doesn't have a purpose. And some of the kids don't understand, because you do this and you build that muscle memory. Then when you get in that game and take that big hack, that muscle memory is there. You don't see the gains all the time. Literally, I had my kid throw a tennis ball off the wall last night. I'm like, dude, stop stabbing out the ball. You got to be soft with the ball. And he doesn't see it. I said, this will help you. I promise you it'll help.
Right. Yeah, no, it's incredible. And I always say too, if the tee is good enough for David Ortiz and Joey Votto and Mike Trout and all these guys, then I tell my kids all the time, then it's good enough for Jake and Andrew Casey. You know what I mean? Like that's the bottom line. And I think that's the truth, man. The more you do things, the repetition is literally the mother of skill. And the more you do it, the more you're getting marginal gains. You might not see it now, but over the course of a time, you're getting exponentially better. You know what I mean?
It's like you talk about Ichiro. You talk about guys are at pool hosts. Like pool hosts right now, it's so much fun watching them do it. Those guys were relentless with their preparation and what they did.
Tell us about that, because you played with Pujols, you play with Ichiro, you play with Bonds, you play with some of the greatest ever. Gwynn, tell us about some of those guys.
So Pujols, the way I described him, when people want to know, I said, listen, I saw that guy one time, many times, 4 for 4 in a blowout game, and he is grinding his fifth at bat just as much as he's grinding his first at bat. He wants to get hits every single at bat. He's always in his process, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the score is. You're getting blown out by 20, winning by 20. That at bat is the most important thing at that point. Even though he got 4 hits, 4 for 5 is a great day, but 5 for 5 is even a better day. And he just never gave at bats up. And that's the stuff that I like. Ichiro was the same way. Ichiro was amazing because he literally could do anything he wanted. He'd go up and go, hey, where should I get this hit? I said,
no way. Oh,
no, for 100%. He sat down once and I said, where should I get this hit? I said, I want to see it hit between the 4 and the 5, or the 5-6 hole, between short and third. And he goes, okay. And he goes in and he gets a pitch on the black inside and just, pow, smokes it that way. Basically, I felt like he could do anything he wanted at any time. Didn't matter. There were times where we're down, and it was he wasn't a home run hitter. He one time walked by and said, I guess I should hit a home run right now. Walked up there, boom, bomb. And not that it always happens, but
but that's incredible.
No, he stayed within his game wasn't home runs. His game was working the ball around, doing what he needed to do it. But when he needed to get a home run, dude took the most incredible BP you've ever seen. I'm telling you, if he would have entered
right?
Oh, dude, home run contest, he would win it no problem. He'd go up there and smack 15 balls in a row. It was unbelievable. You talk about hitters of the generation, left-handed hitter. I don't know if you ever see a better one from our generation. And Pujols the same way. I don't think you'll see a better right-handed hitter from our generation than Albert Pujols ever.
Yeah. Incredible, bro. Dude, This is going down memory lane with you, bro. It has been amazing,
man.
Dude.
I can go 3 more hours.
Oh, I know. I have 3 more hours of questions, but I don't want to hold you too much. But dude, we have 2 things that we do. The last 2 segments that we do. One of them is called "Who Owned You" and "Who Did You Own?"
Okay. Oh man.
And Chinch is locked in with the numbers too. Yeah. So as soon as you drop somebody, we're gonna
start thinking.
I mean, who owned me? Kenny Lofton, John Olerud. They have my number. Kenny Lofton, dude. For some reason, I don't know what it was. If it's his demeanor, but it wasn't like he like was hitting bombs off me. But I had the hardest time getting him out. And John Olerud owned. I think John Olerud hit 4 something off me, if I'm not mistaken. Who did I own? Gosh, there wasn't a lot.
No, there's got to be some guys.
I remember at one point, Sammy got me back towards the end. But at one point, Sammy, I must have struck Sammy out like 10 times in a row.
Really?
Like not even close. Yeah, no, it was like I had his number for. And towards the end, during the home run race, he started getting me a little bit. But
you knocked. Sorry, keep going. I was going to say you knocked Todd Hollinsworth out of the league. 12 strikeouts and 26 at bats.
There you go. There you go.
Biggio,
personally responsible.
Biggio 211 off you in 43 plate appearances.
Wow.
Jeff Kent did get you a little bit. Let's see the dingers.
Jeff Kent. So Jeff Kent is the player that I faced the most in my big league career. Mm-hmm. Jeff Kent, then Dave Roberts.
Yeah,
Dave. I got Dave pretty good too. Dave hit a low 200 off me.
Right.
We talk about it all the time.
I was gonna say you and Doc are boys too, right?
Yeah. He always gives me credit. Like you saw, I was like, and I want to say, no, man, you handled me, but it was like, dude, he hit like low 2. So I was like, I just try to give him a little bit of props. Because Dave's the nicest guy in the world.
Nicest.
I just know Jeff Bagwell didn't, I think owning has different things. Jeff Bagwell maybe average wise didn't own me, but dude hit a home run off me every time. I remember I had a shutout going in San Diego, and it's like, it's the first time Bagwell's not going to hit a home run off me. Shutout in the 9th inning. I throw a ball about eye high. He's super low as it is. He comes up, hits it 500 feet straight up, and then just goes right over the fence. And I'm like, dude, I thought I had him. But Bagwell and Charles Johnson, for some reason, they go 1 for 3 with a home run off me every single time.
Wow. Oh my God, yeah. That's so good.
Yeah, I don't know about guys that I really, really got the number. Except Hollingsworth, I had him.
Yeah, of course you did. Dominated him. Dude, so the last thing we do is called 9 and 90. Chinch has 9 questions. There's fun questions. I'll answer first, and then you answer after me.
Okay.
Hall of Fame baseball broadcaster Marty Brennaman here. It's time for 9 and 90, the most ridiculous segment in all of sports.
All right, Chinch.
All right, here we go. First one. What is a worse food invention, pineapple pizza or candy corn?
Oh, bro, I love candy corns. I crushed them when my mom was growing up, so pineapple pizza's tired.
Yeah, I'm on the candy corn train too. So pineapple pizza, yeah, for sure.
There you go.
Fruit on pizza doesn't work.
Okay. Yeah. Case, are you a cash or a credit guy?
I'm a credit guy, but you know what? I always think to myself, if I brought cash out, I wouldn't spend as much money on the credit card if I could deliver the cash all the time. So I might become a cash guy soon.
I'm a credit guy. My wife's the cash person. She's always got cash. I don't have a dollar bill in my wallet.
Excellent. Would it be cooler to be a ninja or a pirate?
Oh, dude, a ninja. Can you imagine? I just come in stealth, hit you with a shooting star. I'm out there. You don't even know what the hell happened.
I'm gonna go on the opposite. I'm gonna go pirate because I'm a bigger guy. I'm not super athletic. Well, I don't want to say super athletic. I'm not super fast. So I feel like a pirate. You can just kind of sit back and relax.
Throw the leg up.
You don't have to do much.
And drink rum.
You can just
shoot
eat
cannons.
You just eat like a big turkey drumstick and have some rum. I'm good with that.
Perfect. Case, after dinner, chocolate chip cookie or a brownie?
You know what? I'm a chocolate chip and milk cookie. I mean, like a chocolate chip and a glass of milk.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a chocolate chip. I'm not a brownie fan at all.
All right.
I think if I never had a brownie the rest of my life, I'd be okay with it.
That is sticking you, right?
Yeah, I'm not. Dude, brownies do nothing for me. Nothing.
Wonderful. All right, good. Case, are you a planner or a crammer?
Oh man, I want to be a planner. I'm getting better at my old age, but I'm more of a crammer at times.
I'm 100% crammer. Crammer for sure. My wife I drive my wife up the wall. I'm going to Cleveland in like 2 weeks, taking my 80-year-old mom to Cleveland because she wants to go there for her birthday. And my wife has told me 45 times to get a rent-a-car. I haven't done it yet.
So great.
Oh, so good. What's worse, Case? Realizing you have a stain on your shirt or realizing your shirt is completely wrinkled and you're in public?
I think a stain on your shirt, because I think sometimes I'm always like, well, if I sweat enough, I'm like an instant steam shower. These wrinkles will come out. But I think a stain on your shirt, you're like, shit, there's nothing I can do about this huge mustard stain I got.
I'm a stain guy. Stain guy for sure. Can I tell you one quick thing?
Yeah.
Stain-wise?
Yeah.
So stain-wise, I'm in the bullpen with Trevor Hoffman, and he's got a big thing of tobacco, and we're just going back and forth for the first 3 innings, just ragging on each other, having fun. He goes in, does his stuff, comes out in the seventh inning, still got it. I'm ragging on him. He just turns and spits all over me.
Oh, no. Oh, that is.
And it was a day that I was scheduled to pitch 100%. So here I am. White uni. Here I am running out in Petco with tobacco stain all over my pants to go pitch in a big league game. And I was trying to wash it out before I got out there and everything.
Oh my God.
Definitely stained.
Hey, at least it was Trevor Hoffman's tobacco spit, you know what I mean?
Right.
It could have been John Hoffman's. You're like, that's not as cool if it's John Hoffman.
Right. The pants, I got the pants framed. In the house.
That is amazing. All right, right to food after that, which is disgusting. What do you grab first at a barbecue, a burger or a dog? You got first thing you go for.
Burger.
100% burger.
All right.
100%.
Excellent. All right, this is the last one. This is going to be a tough one. Teammate with the grossest locker you've ever played with. It can be yourself, Sean. I don't know if you're...
Grossest locker. Let me think. Oh, Brandon Inge. Brandon Inge.
I just saw him like a month ago.
Dude, I love Brandon Inge. One of my favorite teammates. Such a great dude, but one of the sickest human beings ever. So I don't even know what his locker looked like, but Brandon Inge popped into my head as my first day in Detroit. I come out of the shower. I'm coming over to the thing. There's a freaking letter to me. Hey, Case, so glad you're here. But I look down. He's like, please enjoy this pube burrito. There's a tortilla. There's a tortilla with Inge shaved all his pubes and put it in this burrito. I'm like, what the hell's going on around here? This is how they do it in Detroit.
Dude, easy for me. And same thing. I don't know about locker, but it's Greg Maddux, 100%.
That's legendary.
Great guy, great teammate, but one of the grossest human beings you could ever be around. Seriously,
dude, can you give us a story? Give us a story.
Dude, I got two. I don't know if I should tell these. So I'm in the shower and, I'm showering up and all of a sudden the water's coming from the front and all of a sudden I feel something hit me in the back and I'm thinking, what is going on? So I turn around and it's Maddux and he's peeing on my leg. So I'm like, I turn around and I said, what the hell are you doing? He's like, and he's got this like weird like horse laugh he does and he's just sit there horse laughing me. But just stupid stuff like that. I won't go any farther than that. But there's incredible stuff too.
That's a good way to end it.
Incredible.
Gross individual.
Oh my God. BT, man, round of applause for you, brother. What an awesome episode, dude. I'm so glad we had you on. I saw you when we were doing the 100th show. I saw you send a tweet saying, "Can't believe I'm not, on the top 100 friends list." And I go, "You are, bro. This is you're only our 60th guest, so you're right there at the top, bro."
Well, then I didn't even make the top 60 friends. That might be horse shit too. I was just like, if I'm not in the top 100, at least please let me be in the top 200 friends. Like I was going for that. So maybe when you start having friends on again, I could be pushed up higher on
there
that, like the 2-time like
100%.
You'll get the first part too. You get the first part too. We'll promise.
First part two. You're the first guest.
Episode 500. We're running out of people. Can you come on?
Oh man, you're the best, dude. Hey, hi to Julie and the kids, brother, and I'll talk to you here soon, man. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Okay, man.
Guys.
See you, buddy. Bro, so great, huh?
Holy
that's
cow.
what I mean. Like, you get your buddies on here, guys that have played 14 years in the show. It comes up some of the stories you told them. It's just so fun, man. It's just great.
First of all,
great stuff.
I don't know why he gave up a podcast, because that dude is one of the greatest talkers. Number one, his mindset is amazing. Every single thing he said was awesome, and he has amazing stories, and he's got a nice voice. And I'm a little fired up now because I have to redo my background and stuff, because I thought we had the two best backgrounds in the business, except this is amazing.
I know. It turns out he does.
I know, that's crazy. But dude, great. Yeah, and you can tell how close you guys are, right? Such good friends.
Dude, just a great guy, great friend, bro. But Chinch, I love you, brother. Yes. Great job today, man. I know you got a lot of action going on right now, which is good stuff. And for everyone out there, man, keep subscribing, downloading to us. It helps us stay on the air, keep delivering, great episodes and fun stories to you guys and great life lessons. So, all right, brother, I love you, Chinch.
Love you, buddy.
I'll see you next week, man. Okay, man.